a face you see often on camera, but I'm trying to, 2026, I'm trying to make changes to creative shooting. You know, over the last couple of years since the wee man's been born, a lot's just been work, not a whole lot of shooting for the sake of shooting for the love of it, which is, you know, why we all do what we do. Everything's great, you know, professionally I'm shooting quite a lot, clients are doing well and everything's moving in the right direction, but the lack of personal shooting or creative shooting just from the sake of doing it has definitely not really happened in a while properly. That being said, you know, it's time for that to change, so this is why I'm here. I'm in front of the camera, I'm making myself fucking so uncomfortable sitting here, but you need to start somewhere, I guess, and yeah, this is my attempt at, I guess, trying to introduce YouTube and going forward. The plan is to use YouTube as a place that I start shooting more personal work again, more down the route of where I want to be shooting. Lots of ideas in my head of what I want to do and how I want to shoot, and projects that I've got in the back burner, written down in notes left, right and centre. Just not had the facility or the time to do it. Ultimately, when you become a dad, you commit all your time to the wee man, which is exactly what I wanted to do. It's been amazing, you know, watching him grow over the last 2 years. It's time now to sort of get grips of creative working again and not just shooting to pay the bills. You know, ultimately the whole point of being in this game and doing what we do is to shoot what you love and do what you want to do. Which I still do that, but the idea of picking the camera up like 365 days a year like I used to, that isn't a thing as much now. That creative spark or burnout or whatever it shows up as is definitely something that has impacted over the last couple of years. It's sort of like, it's more work now, it feels more like work than it ever has, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining about it. I get to do what I love every day of the week, most days of the week, so yeah, it's not a complaint. It's just more, I mean, I'm sure there's people that probably relate to this, but it's more, when you first started shooting like a little kid, you were running about daft and you were up and about, up the highlands, up mountains, doing whatever you want to do. Just so happened you had your camera with you and it became like a cool thing, like not a cool thing, but you felt like the camera was part of that. And now it's like, when it comes round to something like that, or time is best spent with like being a father, but a father? Who am I? A da. But that time, you know, the feeling to pick up the camera has definitely got harder in the last sort of couple of years. The want to do it out with client work and out with work in general has made it difficult. Big thanks to some boys that I've leaned on the last 6 months to a year, that have sort of helped me, push me in the right direction and tell me just to get back out and start shooting, you know, specs and personal stuff and, you know, whatever you want, just put a bit of budget behind it and do it. Ultimately that brings the best results. So yeah, I've wrote a lot down of, strangely enough, pen to paper has helped a lot the last couple of months. Pre-Christmas I made a sort of plan, and I guess that this is me just being hyper uncomfortable and sitting here and telling it to myself. What, like, who the fuck's going to watch this? No one probably, but ultimately it's more like, if other people are going through this, then great. It's like a creative block, I guess, to an extent. It's more just the willpower of like wanting to pick up the camera. You know, we burn ourselves out so much of like chasing deadlines, edits, chasing invoices, everything that goes along with the freelance, you know, filmmaking / photography, is that majority of your work is spent at your office, in your desk, you know, working out when the next invoice is due, or like sort of looking at terms of that. You know, a lot of your time out in the field isn't actually a percentage, like a higher percentage should I say. This is a total ramble, totally talking shite, but just in case anyone can relate, it's like when you get to that point of like, I just want to pick up and start shooting again. I've had it a few times, a few moments, and I'm like, this is why I do what I do. Like on a personal level, you know, that happens week in, week out when I do client work and work for paying clients, which is great, but you sort of forget, you know, like the reason I'm working for paying clients is because I used to do so much personal stuff that built up a portfolio or a space that allowed me to approach that and say, here's what I can do. And now that's stagnated. The work hasn't, it's more like it's stagnated in terms of working on that stuff, like that cool stuff, that exciting stuff, that stuff that makes you want to pick up the camera and throw together all the kit. I mean, it took me like an hour and a half this morning procrastinating, wondering how I can set up my lights, or should I even do anything like this. Ultimately I'm using this as a bit of a light test, but at the same time I've now started rambling, so someone's maybe going to see it, and most likely no one's going to see it because I probably won't upload it anywhere. But I just wanted to give you a quick rundown where things are. Still here, still shooting, still very, very active in terms of what I'm doing. Just have to rejig in terms of the creative space, how much more I want to be doing off my own back, and not just like for people that are saying, here's some money to do what you want to do. Hope that makes sense. Ultimately, don't give a shit if it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't make sense in my head either. But if it can help someone else in that sort of position, give us a shout. Anybody wants to go out and shoot some stuff, any short film ideas, I've got plenty. And I think the idea is more a collaboration as well. Like I'm pretty bad at speaking to people in the industry or creating collaborations or networking in the last couple of years. It's just sort of like priorities have shifted. Those priorities being a dad and a good husband, which is a challenge to balance, but I think I'm doing alright. Maybe. My wife might say otherwise. But yeah, it's about trying to get that creative spark again, and I think I'm going to use this platform as a space to push that creative spark again, and to pick up a camera for a reason. There's just so many of us, and again, agree or not agree or disagree, it's up to you, but you doom scroll all day on Instagram, he's doing this, she's doing that, they're doing this, I can't do that, that works so cool, wish I could do that. Meanwhile I'm sitting in my house editing stuff and getting through things, or spending time procrastinating or doing things that ultimately I could be going out and doing other stuff if I wanted to. So yeah, it's the comparing thing. Everyone's constantly compared to the next thing, so it's about trying to grab your creative spark again and go out and get on with it. And I'm going to try in the next couple of months start piecing things together, start shooting more whenever I've got time. Ultimately, I've not been shooting enough, I've not been doing enough out with, you know, client work or freelance work or whatever. It's like shoot, camera back in, batteries all charged, camera's on the shelf, next job comes up, shoot, rinse and repeat. You sort of lose that I want to take my camera everywhere feeling, which is something that I want back, something that, you know, I thought I would have more of, I guess. When I had the wee one, I thought I'll shoot everything, blah blah blah, I'll record loads of stuff, but I never really did. I sort of just like, when it came round to it, I couldn't be arsed. I would rather be more present and just have a day out with my wife and my son, or not think about camera stuff or editing when I don't want to, because I've been doing so much of it, like generally. But then that brings you back a level. That sort of pegs you back, or it puts in your head that you're losing miles because you're not constantly developing that craft. So yeah, for me it's time to start being creative again. I'm already teaching. Honestly, this is torture. Well yeah, I guess it's time for me to start being more creative again personally, and want to shoot things and see some of the projects I've written down or thought about doing, find the people that I want to shoot and offer them to shoot for them, or do things for them, or just create some nice work. This is bollocks sitting in front of this camera. I hate this. But I'm here, and hopefully it's the beginning of more of it. Maybe. Oh, this is ridiculous. Fucking hell.